Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, great. If he doesn't, then I guess we'll see him on tomorrow night. So you guys know the routine. We're gonna start it off as always with NXT, then followed by AEW, and well, let's start it off as we did with NXT, and we started it off with Cameron Grimes, along with the Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, and as it was, as you may know, everything basically went down. And what happened was that Cameron Grimes ended up giving up the $1 million championship, gave it back to the $1 million Man Ted DiBiase in I guess a show of good faith. Well, the $1 million Man showed him a thing of good faith, gave him a belt, gave him another $1 million championship. But here's the thing: it wasn't the actual title itself; it was a replica. One that you could buy on WWEshop.com for about $250. You get the legendary cackle by Ted DiBiase. My boy Cameron Grimes got, as we would say. Look, to end the storyline was very knowledgeable. It was very good. Look. And you knew the $1 million belt, and you know the legacy and everything else, and what the belt means to all of us. I mean, we all enjoyed it, we all love it, we all kind of feel like the belt is, it's like legacy, man. This belt was. Here's how old I'm going to show. I'm about to show my age. The belt was introduced in 1989 at WrestleMania 5. I was about 5 years old when the $1 million belt made its appearance for the first time ever. And it was beautiful. The diamonds, everything else. But to say how this goes, maybe this is kind of a more serious gimmick that they're going to do with Cameron Grimes. Maybe they're going to make him more of a better wrestler because of this. I'll tell you one thing for sure. To see Ted DiBiase get the leg up on Cameron Grimes one last time, dude, everybody got a price for the $1 million Man. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Great way to start the show. I mean, if you want to hype the crowd, a great way to do it is to bring out a young man who has become so ridiculously over, these last few months, and that is Cameron Grimes. And yeah, great way to start it off. Him and DiBiase, the chemistry was fantastic, and great moment with the money coming down. Let's keep the funny ha-ha going here. Funny moment on commentary here. Vic Joseph and Beth Phoenix were gushing over the money that was being tripoded out. Wade Barrett just had that classic heel, like, you gotta be kidding me. He was disgusted, and it was hilarious, and great way to start that off. And it was great to see the $1 million Man back. It was also great to see the $1 million belt, and maybe now this is where Cameron Grimes can start focusing on maybe start working up the ranks, maybe slowly but surely working his way into the North American title picture, maybe work his way into the title picture. But I know that's a long ways away. But I definitely see bigger and better things coming for Cameron Grimes. He's got a very bright future ahead of him. There's no doubt about that, especially after that win on Sunday night. So solid way to start the show. There is no question about that. So, MF, if you'll be as kindly as to set up the next match, I will start off and give you my thoughts.
Well, our first fight of the evening on NXT was Ridge Holland going one-on-one with Timothy Thatcher. Ridge Holland wins the match in 10 minutes and 38 seconds. Anthony Florio, be a man Boy.
Absolutely. 3.25 stars. Timothy Thatcher is a fantastic veteran for any opponent. However, he and Ridge Holland did not easily click. This was a hard-fought bout where both men wanted to make it big. It just ended up being a solid TV match that continued to build the dominance of the former rugby star. Holland is the ideal specimen in a new-look NXT where they want larger-than-life talent. He has more than proved himself early on. However, he still has a ways to go to compete at a main event level, even if he is already defeating main event talent. And this new heel faction led by Pete Dunne is interesting. They are all hard-hitting opponents for any competition. Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher cannot fight them alone, but it is hard to say on the surface who would join them. And I think it's possible that this feud will lead to a War Games match with the right stars added. So there's a future War Games match coming. So that's really all I can say on that. So 3 to 3.25 stars is the correct rating for this. So MF, right up your wheelhouse, be a man fight. And they said that Timothy Thatcher got so banged up he might be out indefinitely. And if that's the case, that sucks.
Yeah, that would suck, no doubt about it. But there's really nothing more to add. I think it was definitely a lot more better than what we would have thought. But I guess you could say it's one of those situations where we're just gonna have to wait and see how this plays out. But I will say, this was very solid. This was very good. And I'll even go as far to call it second best fight of the night because there was one match that was even better than this. But we'll get into that in just a little bit. Then we had a little bit of a couple of things, backstage segments. But one segment that needed to be addressed: Mackenzie Mitchell with the future newlyweds, Index, Dexter Lumis, Indy Hartwell. They were talking about how everything was going down. How their engagement's been so up to date. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I said there's a wedding. We have a wedding and a wedding date. Dee Woodson kind of started to say, well, we didn't get a wedding date. Well, now we do, Dee, and the whole world is invited. Tuesday night, September 14th, 2021, the wedding of Index. Indy Hartwell, Dexter Lumis will tie the knot, and the only person who is probably the only person who could be more prouder than a mama is Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix is so into this. She is so excited for this wedding. So, Floyer, you've been cordially invited. Tuesday night, September 14th is the date. So we got a wedding, and now we got the wedding date.
We got the wedding and the wedding date, and let me tell you, that's a perfect date because that's when the live shows come back.
Yes.
Because as you know, these starting last night and the next 2 weeks following, NXT is going to be doing tapings. Now, I'm not really crazy about tape shows, but considering it's NXT, I'll give it a whirl. But September 14th, though, that can't come fast enough. We finally have a wedding, and it's great that we're going to get it on free television. It's not often that happens, but we have it here, and I'm already calling for. I'm gonna put a Tony twang on this. I'm already calling Mookie Stinks on this because there's going to be Mookie Stinks, and there will be.
Oh, obviously the Mookie Stinks is going to come from the Garganos.
Yeah,
they're the ones that's gonna come with the Mookie.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Gargano and Johnny and Candice are going to do everything in their power to hijack this thing. But I got a feeling it's going to go off. I got a feeling it's going to eventually go off.
Something tells me I think we're going to get a la AEW. I honestly think we're going to get an actual wedding where Dexter and Indy does indeed get married. But I think the Mookie Stinks are going to start flying after the wedding.
Yes.
I think the Garganos are going to come out, and that's when all the problems are going to start. But the thing is what are they going to do? Because remember, Candice is pregnant.
That's right. I wrote that.
Is it possible? Now, I know WWE would never do this, but then again, you never know. Could they actually you know what? Here's a major Mookie stink, and I love the pronunciation of what you just said, Florio. Could it be where she could say that Dexter's the father of the baby and not Johnny?
Oh boy.
Oh, think about that one.
Oh, that would be the closest wedding craziness we've seen since our all-time favorite, the infamous Triple H and Test moment.
Yeah,
that would trump it. That would damn near trump it,
dude. Wow.
I mean, it's one thing. It's one thing when Triple H, gets Stephanie all high as a kite and whatnot, and ends up, having one of those tacky Vegas weddings, even though we loved it, and we had so much fun with that when that went down. And oh boy, if this happens, man, I mean, you want to talk about getting people talking and getting people around the water cooler and the donut shops and all that, like Derek would say. I mean, it's one thing with you and me, but what would Bullock do? Because it's his show, and on top of that, what would Dee Dee do?
Yeah, because
Dee Dee's a mom.
Dee Dee's a mom. Dee Dee is the mom, and not only a mother, but a grandmother at that.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes,
she's a grandmother.
Absolutely.
Because one of her sons has a couple of kids of their own.
Yep.
But on top of that, like you said, what about Michael Bullock? Michael Bullock is the grand poobah of NXT.
His show.
That's his show. Oh wow. I would love to get their thoughts. That's actually a very interesting point. You just brought up something that, holy cow, if that happened.
Yeah, but that's only if they do it.
If they pull the trigger on that, oh my God.
Then we'll have to hope that Bullock is on when we get to that particular show in a few weeks. So
you talk about Mookie stinks flying, man. If they pull that card out, oh boy, I'm ducking.
And by the way, Mookie stinks is a word that was used in one of the early episodes of South Park. Thank you, Mr. Mackey, for that.
What? Why am I not surprised?
The Mr. Hanky episode. That's all there is to know. Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. You opened the door for me on that one. All right. Anyway,
that's where I got it from.
All right. So anyway, next up we had was Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. They went up against Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. Kaden and Casey won the match in 4:05. Look, I mean, it was a showcase fight. I think it was more better for them. It puts them at least in contention for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. I think we're just looking to see who could be contenders now. I don't think we're looking at more than anything else. And I actually love Casey and Kaden, and I hope they get the next shot. If they do, I think they're the favorites to win the titles. There has been some dissension among the ranks between Zoe Stark and the Genius in the Sky, Io Shirai. It's been well documented on NXT television that both girls are not really on the same page when it comes to Zoe and Io. They talk about the language barrier. They talk about, their styles of wrestling. If there's one team that could benefit from all that turmoil, it's Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. They would be unbelievable tag team champions if given the opportunity. Honestly, the match is a wash. I'm not going to give it a rating because it kind of felt like a delicious squash more than anything else, Anthony. So it's yours.
And this was a classic Mikey versus Tony thing, because I'll tell you, Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, MF, we know you love them. I mean, especially Casey Catanzaro, not just for the beauty, but also it's more so for her athletic ability and the whole American Ninja Warrior thing. That's when she won your heart, and that's it. And then from there, on the other side, with Dolan and Jane, I mean, me being the heel commentator and all, I would call them Tony girls, fortune girls. I mean, especially Gigi Dolan. I mean, oh, wowza. Now, I don't usually go for, redheads. I mean, that's more MF's thing, but that young lady is an exception, in my honest opinion, because she is drop dead gorgeous. And JC Jane ain't no slouch either. I'll tell you that. Those are Tony girls. I'll tell you that. But
Not only that, but look who they're with.
The Tony girl of Tony girls, Mandy Rose.
Mandy Rose. Yep.
Oh, get the three of them together. Oh boy, hard eye emoji. My heart beats out of my chest. Oh, beauties. Oh boy. But all kidding aside, though, like MF said, it was not nearly as much the competitive match it likely should have been. While Dolan and Jane got a short segment in control, this was far more about Carter and Catanzaro. The two have been built well as the next challengers to the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. While it is appreciated that NXT is avoiding 50-50 booking with the likely number one contenders, Dolan and Jane were also supposed to be on the rise. In their first real challenge, they fell flat. It was the right result, but the timing of the bout makes little sense. These two teams should not have been facing each other if there is a plan to push them both. So, it was more of a delicious squash more than anything else. Probably maybe 1 to 1.5 for the effort, but yeah, MF, your girls. I mean, your girls over my girls, no doubt about that. And you're absolutely right. I do believe if and when the time comes that Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter are being groomed to be the next NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, absolutely. And then if we get a program with Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, that could be fun. Shows you why the NXT Women's Division continues to be the best women's division in all of professional wrestling, hands down. So, not much more to say. 1.5. They were nice to look at, but the match, though, not so much. Move on.
All right, so we're going to indeed move on. And the next thing that we did have after this, we had a lot of promo segments after that. And the next in-ring segment, or the next in-ring match we had, was Valentina Farce. And she went up against making her NXT USA debut. I think she's wrestled before, but this is her first time in the US. Kaylee freaking Ray. Kaylee Ray wins the match in 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Anthony Florio, we saw her make her appearance at NXT 36 TakeOver, and now Kaylee Ray has dipped her toe into the US NXT with her eye on the NXT Women's title.
The Scary Queen of Scots. I love that. I love that. I really do. Kaylee, all right. Now I don't know Kaylee Ray as much as MF does, but from what I've seen, she is one of the best wrestlers on the NXT roster. While she needed an introduction to a fresh audience, she did not need this match. This squash was completely flat. It went twice as long as it should have and rarely sold the best qualities of the former NXT UK Women's Champion offense. It'll be interesting to see how WWE paces out the challengers to Raquel Gonzalez. Both Frankie Monet and Kaylee Ray are great opponents to continue pushing the NXT Women's Champion forward. Both could also be the one to dethrone Gonzalez, given their talent and spotlight. And once upon a time, Kaylee Ray was the longest NXT UK Women's Champion. Well over 600 days she held that thing. So, but we'll see. I mean, hey, like I said on our recap the other night with Bullock, I mean, as if your women's division couldn't get any better, you now have the Scary Queen of Scots coming in. whoa, business has picked up in the women's division. That's all there is to say on that. And MF, I know you know a little more about her than I do, so yeah, I'll just give it to you here. It was an absolute dud. I could call it the worst fight of the night.
Yeah.
From a personal perspective, from me being a man who loves beautiful women, that was a delicious squash.
It was a delicious squash, and Kaylee Ray, one of the pioneers of ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling. She was in one of the most dangerous stables over there with her now husband Stevie Boy, who's a former ICW World Heavyweight Champion in his own right. Kaylee Ray beat Piper Niven, Dewdrop, to win the ICW Women's title at Fear and Loathing, which is their version of WrestleMania. This was their biggest event of the year, and at Fear and Loathing 9 at the SCC Hydro in Glasgow, Scotland, she walked away with that championship and held that title for over 1.5 years. She was a 1.5 year champion before she ended up going to NXT UK. She dropped the belt, had to forfeit the title, gave the title away, and that's when she went off to NXT UK and started her 600-day run as the NXT Women's Champion in the UK. So she was one of the dominant champions, was forced to drop the belt, and then went off to NXT UK and continue her dominance over there. Now she's in the United States trying to fight for the NXT Women's title. Oh my goodness, what a game changer. So no doubt about it. She's a badass, man. She is amazing. She's one of the best in the game. So next up we had was Carmelo Hayes versus Odyssey Jones. This is the finals of the breakout tournament, and it's Carmelo Hayes walking away with the trophy. He wins the tournament 6 minutes and 50 seconds, but more importantly, Carmelo Hayes now can choose any title he sees fit for a title match. He can fight for the NXT Championship, the North American Championship. If he wants to grab a partner, he can, and they can go after the NXT Tag Team titles. He is now guaranteed a title shot sometime down the line in the near future. It was a good final. The tournament was a little bit underwhelming, but I think we got the right outcome. I'm happy Carmelo Hayes won it all. I think he's going to be a very good breakout star, no doubt about it. I could give this about 3 stars. This was a fun little sprint. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for me. This was easily the best match of the tournament. It was clear that Odyssey Jones is still a work in progress as a performer, but Carmelo Hayes got the most out of it that anyone has so far. It was fun to watch these two push each other to be better. The finish put over both men as the smarter man survived the more dangerous one. Hayes is now fully established in NXT as a true breakout star, whether he challenges Samoa Joe for the NXT Championship, Isaiah Swerve Scott for the North American Championship. Maybe he goes for the tag titles, but you're forgetting another title, MF. Don't forget about the Cruiserweight Championship of the world, Kushida. He could go after him if he wanted to.
But is he at the 205 level? That's the only question I have.
I think he is.
If he's at the 205 level, then all right, I can see that. But I'll if I had a personal say, if I got the personal pick of who he should go after, if I was Carmelo Hayes, I would go after the North American Championship. I would go after Isaiah Swerve Scott, because that match could be a fight of the night type candidate. I think that fight would be amazing if he decides to go after that title.
It would be a banger. Absolute banger. No doubt about that. if that does happen, Hit Row, stay away, please. I mean, I know where Swerve goes, you all go, and all that good stuff, but leave them in the back. Let those two go at it one-on-one without any BS interference, and bada boom, you got a banger instantly. But anyways, no matter what title he goes for, he should continue to impress with each performance. So 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star for me. So not much more to say. MF, let's continue on.
All right. And with that said, we actually do now go into Boa versus Exxon Quinn. Exxon Quinn beats Boa in 1:05. We're not going to talk about that one. We're just going to move right on along.
Yeah, that was a dud.
Yeah. Main event, guys. It was Hit Row, Ashanti the Adonis, Top Dollar, and the North American champion Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, Raul Mendoza. Legado del Fantasma wins the match, but hold on. It looks like Legado del Fantasma has itself an ace in the sleeve, an ace in the hole. Elektra Lopez showed up, and oh my goodness, was she a game changer, helping Legado del Fantasma wins it. Anthony, whoa! Whoever saw that coming?
Well, if you read the spoilers like I did, I did, but I didn't know who the name was because they just said a woman. They didn't specify who. But okay. But what was the time of that fall? If you have it,
13:53.
13:53. All right. This was the fight of the night, no doubt about it. 3.5. I'm only going to give it 3.5 stars. The finish, took away from it. I would have given it 3 3/4, but I'm going to knock it down a peg to 3.5. This was long awaited, and it did not disappoint. These teams hit hard and fought harder. It was a fast-paced trios battle that showed the talent of everyone involved. This feud also perfectly set up for the arrival of the Equalizer. Legado del Fantasma needed a female member. B-Fab was crucial to turning the tide in multiple brawls between the groups. Elektra Lopez is not fully established yet, but this could be the perfect opportunity for her to prove herself. Santos Escobar has officially pinned Swerve, so the most anticipated battle of this rivalry has to be ahead. Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Santos Escobar for the NXT North American Championship should be the main event of NXT in one of the next few weeks. So that's how I feel about it. So 3.5 stars. It was easily the fight of the night. And yeah, MF, I mean, you want to talk about, moments where you remember what the sound was like. We remember back at WrestleMania when Bianca nailed Sasha with her ponytail. I mean, we all remember the damn near gunshot that went off. I mean, we thought it was a damn gunshot when we heard that.
Oh yeah. We all freaked out. We all marked when we heard that shot.
Yeah, and you and me let out one of our biggest whoas. I mean, it was right up there. And then of course, where I'm getting at is, did you hear when Elektra Lopez connected with that lead pipe on B-Fab?
Oh yeah. She nailed her right
Ping.
she nailed her right in the gut. Like, you could tell that hurt.
Like a ping, like in
it's like in hockey when you hear a shot go off the post. Yeah, that's what you heard.
Well, no, not quite that. I mean, in the College World Series with those aluminum bats when they connect, ping.
Oh yeah,
that's what it sounded like to me. But anyways, like I said, 3.5 stars. It was the fight of the night, and MF. When Elektra connected with that, we would have had one of our legendary woes. And then I would say, did you hear that? And how would you follow that up as always?
Did you feel that? Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, this was about a 3.5 star fight, main event, solid for what it was worth. And we got ourselves a good outcome here. So yeah, as far as overall review goes, I thought it was all right. I think it was a solid show. I don't think it was It could have been a little more better, but I think at the end of the day, it did all right. It did what it needed it to do. It served its purpose. So I really got nothing more to add. I'll give this about maybe 7.5 out of 10. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, seven, about seven, 7.5. Right there with you. I mean, excuse me. Book ended by a great opening match and a great main event. Some good angles. The Joe angle was still very good as well. Because we definitely have a lot of guests coming to that dinner table for the Samoan Submission Machine, no doubt about that. This was still the traditional NXT, but there are some new faces showing up. That's not a bad thing, as NXT has been really needing a freshening up. But they need to get the transitional period down. Overall, a rather fun show with a mixture of stuff to make the 2 hours and change go by pretty quick. They have the talent to make this work, but they're going to need to execute it really well over the next few weeks. So 7.5 for me. So MF, not much more to say. Let's move on to tonight's edition of AEW Dynamite from the legendary Mecca Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
We started off with Matt Hardy versus uh, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy wins the match in 9 minutes and 33 seconds. Solid opener. Good match, good battle. Nice little back and forth between the two men, but the right man won the match. I could give this easily 3 stars. Anthony, go.
2.5 to 3 for this. Absolutely. This was a fun, inoffensive opener that gave Cassidy the win, but kept the door open for the continuation of the feud. Matt Hardy performed admirably through a broken nose, showing the toughness and grit that has defined his career. Orange Cassidy is one of the perpetually over stars the company could put out there, and know he wouldn't get drowned out by fans chanting for someone else. He kept them engaged, and the result was a hot, energetic start to a show that was sure to have plenty of eyes on it. So 2.5 to 3, no doubt about that. So MF, let's continue on.
All right. Next up, we had was, So here we go. There was a promo by Chris Jericho with MJF that if there's gonna be one more match, but this time if Jericho loses the match, his career in AEW is over. Jericho is done. We'll talk about that down the line. What we will talk about now, the Varsity Blondes versus the Lucha Brothers. This is the second semifinal match in the AEW Tag Team Eliminator Tournament, and the team that will now face Jurassic Express. Actually, this Friday night coming up, it's gonna be the Lucha Bros. They win 8 minutes and 58 seconds. They advance to the final. They will face off against Jurassic Express, and the winners of that match will fight the Young Bucks at All Out inside the steel cage for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Anthony, Lucha, Zero Miedo, 1 down, 1 to go as they win it in 8:58.
And let's not forget Ray Phoenix. I love that Justin Roberts intro. I love when he does that. But once again, all kidding aside, but before I get into that, I believe you already addressed an MF about Chris Jericho.
About if he loses, his career is done.
Yeah. So, all right, just wanted to be sure on that, and we'll definitely have some things to say when we get to the preview show for All Out next Friday night on the Cerebral Smack Talk. So September 3rd. So we'll definitely have some things to say about that. I'm very torn on that one as of right now. But anyway, as far as this match goes, wow. Solid 3 to 3.25 stars for this. The Lucha Brothers are at the point where they can have a match with 2 broomsticks and have the fans hanging on every spot. They're as good as any tag team in the industry, including the Young Bucks. So it is no surprise that AEW would want to feature them prominently in this tournament. Their work with the Varsity Blondes not only provided a quality match, but helped elevate them. Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison will benefit exponentially from having these matches against teams as great and celebrated as Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Phoenix, it makes sense that the Bucks would want to try and get a jump on the Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express. They have repeatedly struggled to beat those teams, and most certainly do not want them to emerge from the tournament victoriously. Unfortunately for them, they are one step closer to that reality. And you can make an argument for either team, honestly. You really can. But MF, based on what we've been seeing as of late, like I said, I won't be mad at whoever wins. But to be honest with you, well, first off, the match on Friday night, I think it's going to steal the damn show, first off. And it's going to be the fight of the night. I'm already calling it. And on top of that, I'm going to go on the record right here and right now. It's not only who I think is going to win, but I'm going to tell you who I think should win. And I talked about it on this show last week, and I'm going to do it again. The Jurassic Express needs to win that match. They really do. And quite frankly, with how ridiculously over Jungle Boy is, especially, I think it's about time that boy won a championship. I really do.
I agree.
So because of that, I'm going to go with the Jurassic Express to win. And in all honesty, they should. Would I have a problem with the Lucha Brothers? Absolutely not. But then again, MF, how many times have you personally seen the Lucha Bros and Young Bucks go at it?
Oh yeah, I mean a decent amount of times, no doubt about it.
Including in Mexico.
Yeah.
Right? Haven't they fought in Mexico?
There was one fight in Mexico where Lucha Bro won, and I believe there was a fight in Japan for New Japan, if I believe, one time. But that time the Young Bucks won it. So yeah.
And they also wrestled on a few of the early AEW pay-per-views in 2019.
Yes.
So when they were wrestling for the AAA tag team titles.
Yes.
And so I mean, it would be entertaining as hell. It would. And I would not mind it at all. I really wouldn't. But for me, it's got to be Jurassic Express. And like I said, I'll do it again. If Jurassic Express wins this match, I believe in my heart of hearts, come all out, they're going to be the next AEW World Tag Team Champions. I feel it.
Yeah.
So not much more to say. Fight's going to be a damn banger. That's all there is to it. I can't wait for Friday night. So not much more to say. 3 to 3.25 stars for me. So MF, Jurassic Express, and the Lucha Bros is going to be a banger. And quite frankly, Jurassic Express needs to win more. Get that Jungle Boy a championship, please. He needs one. He's long overdue.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'll say about 3 to 3.25. This was solid. This was a very good match. And I'm excited to see Jungle Boy and Jurassic Express and Lucha Bros go at it. That's going to be a hell of a fight. And we'll get to see that Friday night as part of Rampage. Next up we had was right after that was Jamie Hayter making her in-ring date or reemergence going up against Red Velvet. Jamie Hayter wins the match in 6 minutes and 38 seconds. It was solid for what it was worth, but the fight was all over the place. Not really good. Overbooked finish. Then led to Chris Statlander coming out, and she got her hands on the AEW Women's title. Britt, you left that belt hanging around, and now an alien's got her hands on it. Ooh, there's gonna be some trouble. And I guess that means that Britt Baker probably is going to have to put the belt on the line against Chris Statlander now, because Stat's got the belt.
I'm going to have to correct you here on this, MF. It's already been made official. It was made official even before this went down. It's going to be at All Out. All Out. Dr. Britt Baker will defend the AEW Women's World Championship against the #1 ranked contender, Chris Statlander.
And Chris Statlander, oh, by the way, undefeated, has not lost a match yet in AEW. Even before she got hurt, she was undefeated going in. So, yeah, the alien now going for the belt. So, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting title fight. But I got a feeling Britt's not losing the belt. Now that you
No,
got now that you got Jamie Hayter there, yeah, no, it's 3-on-1. I don't like her chances.
no.
I don't. I
Un-
mean,
un-
the
unless
match was
unless Chris
okay.
Statlander unless Chris Statlander can find someone to watch her back, not just Red Velvet, but someone else to watch her back.
Yeah,
That's the only way she'll have a realistic chance.
yeah. But who can she get? I mean, Red Velvet would definitely help, but you need one more person.
Hmm.
I mean, who would be the other? You would need an ace in the hole and someone who is a powerhouse like Jamie Hayter. But who do you get? Who on the who as a free agent in women's wrestling can you get? Not Lana. Lana won't help
Ufa,
because
no.
I know she's a free agent, but she won't help you any. I don't know. I don't know anybody else. We'll
No.
see.
But anyways, I'll take this for a spin if you're all set, MF.
Yeah, I'm all set. You can go.
All right. Um, and just to correct here, this young lady, Jamie Hayter, that is not Jake Hager's wife. I thought I remember
No,
hearing you one time say
no,
that.
not Hager's wife. No.
No, Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
That's the name. I think you got the last name confused or something. So, um, and Jamie Hayter is a young. She was used in the early days of AEW. I mean, she even had a little bit of a thing with Dr. Brett back in the early days of AEW when Dynamite first started, almost 2 years ago. But she suffered a bad injury and that kept her out for a long time. And then, of course, considering the fact that she's from England, the travel restrictions with COVID and all that nonsense. So, but anyways, 2.25, 2.5 stars for this. You could tell at different points in the bout, based on timing and whatnot, that Red Velvet and Jamie Hayter have not had a ton of ring time with each other. The effort was there, and the match hit the storyline spots it needed to, but the overall quality was lacking. The women's division, for all of the effort of those within it, continues to be a portion of the AEW product with room for improvement, even though it's been slowly but surely starting to get a little better. It is heading in the right direction, but the lack of genuine storylines hurts its ability to gain the sort of traction within the AEW audience that other divisions have. NXT. Dr. Britt Baker is over, yes. Now it's time for those in charge to get the rest of the division there. So 2.25, 2.5 for this. So not much more to say. MF, let's move on.
Yeah. So next up with that we had was CM Punk cutting a promo.
Yes.
And I don't know. Like he put over a lot of the young talent, which was cool. But then he talked about something that kind of caught the ear of a lot of fans where I don't know. Did you hear maybe a little subtlety to a certain American dragon?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Had to do it.
No. He didn't talk about him now, did he? Did he really just mention about Bryan Danielson?
His bestie?
His bestie? Oh.
I think so.
And a big shout out to that he gave to his lovely wife April. We know who she is. Mm-hmm. We don't even need to talk about that. Then it leads to a 6-man tag team fight. Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, and Eddie Kingston versus the Wingmen. JD Drake, Ryan Nemeth, and Cesar Bononi. But it was the face team. Kingston, Darby, and Mox winning the match. 7 minutes and 23 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
I want to quickly get into the Punk thing. I mean, sure. That was the fiery promo people expected out of CM Punk. He had the fans feeding out of the palm of his hand, reacting with an enthusiasm we don't see to such a degree elsewhere. The tease of Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, probably in this case, only further enhanced the excitement and energy. Punk making this run less about proving doubters wrong and more about proving to himself that he can still go, is a great way to frame it. In doing so, he puts over the young talent in the company and labels them the measuring stick by which he will judge himself, rather than the reverse. Hopefully, AEW and Tony Khan do not lose sight of that element of Punk's return, because the matches against young talent should absolutely be the focus of this run, with those big title matches and grudge bouts sprinkled in gradually. Now, as far as this trios match is concerned, did you really think those Hammenegger, Jabroni, those Hammeneggers, the Wingmen, did you really realistically think they were going to have any chance against John Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin? Did you really think they had a chance? Nah, honey, no.
Nope.
Yeah, nope. Like Moxley said, under another persona. But this was high energy, if nothing else. It was nice to see the underrated Wingmen get some TV time, but at the same time, the idea of Ryan Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler's younger brother, Cesar Bononi, and JD Drake beating down John Moxley was laughable. They are hardly a top faction in AEW, so working over a former world champion, a fairly dominant competitor like Kingston, and the guy facing CM Punk at All Out was a bit curious. It probably should not have gone as long as it did, but it was at least entertaining and spotlighted top baby faces. It also got Danny Garcia on the screen and continued his ongoing TV feud with Darby Allin. No harm, no foul, even if it was mostly inconsequential in the long run. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. MF, we got some catching up to do because a certain panelist has just joined us.
Yeah. All right. All right, Mike Bullock. We're gonna have to go rapid fire on this, Mike. So we're gonna try to get this done.
Hey, I'm ready to go rapid fire.
All right, fine. That's all good. Let's see. Let's start it off here. Let's do this. All right. So we'll start off with NXT. We started it off with Ridge Holland versus Timothy Thatcher. Ridge Holland wins the match in 10 minutes and 38 seconds.
A fine match here. I thought maybe we'd get a little more time, so I'll give this about between 3.5.
All right, fair enough. Right after that, we had was Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Gigi Dolan and Jace and Lacey J. As it was Catanzaro and Carter wins in 4:05.
I'll give it about maybe 1.5, but that's all.
Kaylee Ray versus Valentina Force. Kaylee Ray wins in 2:51.
0.5-1, but a good first showing for Kaylee Ray and NXT here in the good old US of A.
Carmelo Hayes wins the breakout tournament over Odyssey Jones, wins it in 6 minutes and 50 seconds.
I'll give this about 2.25 for this here. I mean, yeah, congratulations to Carmelo Hayes for winning the breakout tournament. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right, one match I totally will just bypass. It was Boa versus Exxon Quinn. Exxon Quinn won in a minute 5. We totally tossed that to the side. Main event: Legado del Fantasma defeats Hit Row, 13 minutes and 53 seconds.
Yeah, obviously this was the fight of the night here. 3.5 stars is my rating. So yeah, so my overall thoughts on this. I'm gonna give this about a 6.5. I mean, obviously, you knew it was going to be a little bit of a step back after a pretty good takeover. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on to Dynamite.
Orange Cassidy defeats Matt Hardy in 9:33.
This was a good start to this show. I mean, 3 stars is what I'm going to give it for this match.
All right, Lucha Bros defeat Varsity Blondes, 8 minutes and 58 seconds.
2.5 to 3 here. I mean, nice win for the Lucha Bros as they move on in the tournament.
Jamie Hayter defeats Red Velvet in 6:38.
2.5 is my rating for this. I was actually impressed with Jamie Hayter here, so let's move on.
And we are talking about right now, and that you could talk about in more length if you want. Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, and Darby Allin defeating the Wingmen in 7 minutes and 23 seconds.
What did you guys give it?
Anthony just gave it. I haven't even given a rating yet. Anthony, what did you give it?
I gave it 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star.
Yep. So
yeah, I'm in that 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a range too. So yeah, now I give it to you, Fletch.
2.5 stars. That's all I'm going to give it. I'm not going to give him anything more than that. Next up, we had was the Gun Club. They went up against the Factory, QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, and Aaron Solo. And it was the Gun Club winning the match in 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
I mean, wow. I mean, the Gun Club getting a nice victory here over them. So, 1.5 to 2 is my rating on it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, a nice upset win for the. I mean, I thought the Factory was going to go over here, but yeah, Gun Club coming out with a big victory here. So Fletch, I mean, I thought the Factory was going to go over, but the Gun Club basically caught him by surprise.
Yeah, caught him by surprise. Nice little upset. But I'm only giving it 2 stars. I wasn't really too high on this match. It was fine for what it was worth. There's really nothing more to ask. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 2 stars. The night of perfectly acceptable wrestling continued with a solid enough 6-man tag that served as the background for the escalation of QT Marshall's feud with Paul White, a feud that no one was asking for, and one that hasn't exactly exceeded expectations to this point. 2 stars, move on.
Main event, it was Brock Anderson versus Malachi Black. Malachi Black wins in 2 minutes and 48 seconds. All right. I'm disappointed that this is the main event of AEW. This makes no sense. This is not even main event worthy. I can only give this about 1 star. This was, look, I get it. You made Malachi Black look amazing, but this was a delicious squash. And honestly, I think they messed up the card so bad. I would have put the tag team tournament match as the main event, not the first fight of the night. And this match could have been flexed into the middle to the mid card. This is one of the rare times I gotta criticize AEW for their booking. This was a no for me. Thoroughly disappointed. 1 star. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a 1-star effort. I mean, Malachi Black remaining an unstoppable force with a finisher capable of obliterating any opponent is exactly what he should be at this point. He is still over and will inevitably have another more significant showdown with Cody Rhodes, so protecting him makes sense. Having him systematically take out members of the Nightmare Factory, even more. What did not was Black cowering off from Lee Johnson. Yes, Big Shotty was impressive against Miro, but Black has been seemingly inconquerable since arriving. Ruining that aura by having him leave rather than confront Johnson made little sense, even with the endgame being a showdown between the competitors in the near future. 1 star for the main event. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, 1 star for me. I mean, I'm with Fletch. This had no business being in the main event. I mean, I would have put like you said, the tag team eliminator match as the main event. Not this. I mean, this was almost like this was a delicious squash here. I mean, this, like you said, this is the rare time where we're gonna have to criticize AEW for their booking. I mean, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Time for overall review. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
Yeah. It was a, you know, it wasn't the best show, but it wasn't the worst either. Um, I could probably give this like six. Is that 6 to 6.5? Maybe 6.5 at the best. I mean, this wasn't the must see episode, as it was much more about having the people involved in the bigger stories talking rather than wrestling. That being said, this is the show that All Out has been needing, as everything else has been cleared out and the pay-per-view could get some focus. It's not a show you really need to watch, but there was some good storyline advancement and nothing bad up and down the show. Well, except for the main event. But other than that, 6.5 out of 10. And I know when we get to MF, I know MF's going to have a little something to say because of one of his Discord buddies had quite the opinion on this show tonight, according to the messenger, and I think 6.5 is the correct rating for this, because some of the things could have been better, and that's really all there is to say. So 6.5 for me. I don't think I'm going to go quite as hard as MF's Discord buddy did, and I know MF will address that in a moment, but that's all there is for me to say. So, not, like I said, not the best, but not the worst either. So, couple good matches here, but the highlights for me were the CM Punk segment more than anything else. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, like you said, this wasn't the best show, but it also wasn't the worst. I'm with Florio. 6 to 6.5. I think is the correct rating for this show. I mean, you had some good matches here, and you also had a good segment, obviously, with CM Punk. Could the show have been better? Absolutely, but it is what it is. I mean, I think MF's Discord buddy may have been a little too harsh with how we rated it as probably the worst. Well, we'll let Fletch talk about it. So 6.5. I mean, it was all right, but like you said, not the best, but certainly not the worst. So Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, so I'm a part of many groups in Discord, and one group came out and they went at AEW. They opened fire on them. One fan called it the worst the worst Dynamite show since the beginning of Dynamite. Like, they Pearl Harbored this show, and I know that probably got Derek Ferrera's attention right about now. But that's the thing. That's just one opinion. However, the only criticism I have with AEW is the booking. The show was fine. It was a 6 out of 10. I will give you guys that. But I just think the match order was where you got yourself in trouble. I would have done the tag team eliminator in the main event. I would have put the CM Punk segment at the beginning of the show just to get the fans red hot. Then you could have pinned anything in the middle. That would have been fine. I think the Red Velvet versus Jamie Hayter basically could have, was fine where it was. I just think they went a little out of order. I think you could have done some things better than others. I just felt like they swung and missed because I'm going to say it. I thought the last 30 minutes of AEW was boring. I'm sorry, I do. I thought it was boring, the last 30 minutes. And that's something I never say about AEW. But I got to call it like I saw it. So this is one of the rare times that we have to call AEW out for something negative. Sorry, AEW fans, but we're going to be honest. We're brutally honest on this show. If we think that something stinks, we are going to say something stinks. So, and we don't care about the repercussions. That's all that is. we'll gladly poke and prod and go after WWE when they do something bad. Don't think for 1 second we're not gonna bow down or kiss your feet if you give us garbage. This wasn't the first time we've come after you guys. This probably won't be the last time either. So, yeah, 6 out of 10. Nothing more to say. I will say to that fan, you're a little out of order and out of line because that was not the worst show by far on Dynamite. I think there was one that was even worse than that. But I don't even remember. But, yeah, that was not AEW's best performances. I'll gladly say that. All right, so
it was a swing and a miss tonight. And if Derek Ferrer gets a hold of this and he hears this, he'll come after that Discord guy.
Oh, that Discord fan is dead. That Discord fan is destroyed if Ferrer gets a hold of it. You know how Ferrer is. So yeah, no doubt about it. But I agree. This was could have been better, but it wasn't, like I said, it was not the worst. That's an exaggeration. But anyway, we're done for the night. Anthony Floyo, come on in. Why don't you set the table for tomorrow night's Strictly Sports, the season finale of Strictly Sports?
Yes, sir. Season finale of Strictly Sports because football season is fastly approaching. So here you go. Tomorrow night, 10:30, the Tome 25, right here on YouTube and StreamYard.com, the season finale of the regulation editions of Strictly Sports, the non-football editions. And what we're going to do, very simple. We're going to start it off with the retirement of one of the greatest goaltenders in NHL history, one that MF and I will forever hold near and dear to our heart as New York Ranger fans. The king himself, Henrik Lundqvist, announcing his retirement. We most certainly have to pay our respects, abso-freaking-lutely, because we cannot bypass that. No way, especially as Ranger fans like myself and MF. So we'll address that. And then you're going to be getting a lot of MF on this show tomorrow night because the next 2 segments will revolve around him because he's the boxing guy. And we will address Manny Pacquiao getting upset by Ugis last Saturday night in Las Vegas. So wait till you hear what MF has to say about that. And then following that, MF will give us maybe the most exciting Big 3 basketball recap yet because their postseason is coming up and it's all set. So MF will let you know who will be the final 4 teams that will battle for the Big 3 championship in the Bahamas. So that's coming. And then in our double main event, we are going to preview the 2021 college football season via the Power 5 conferences, the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the SEC. Also get into some Notre Dame. And then in the other main event, it will be our preview of the 2021 NFL season. And then the following week, September 2nd, mark it down, Thursday, September 2nd, the season premiere of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Our busy season's fast approaching, folks. So get ready because you're going to be seeing a lot more of us in the coming months. So get ready. So 10:30 tomorrow night, the Tone 25, season finale of Strictly Sports. You do not want to miss this. So without that being said, it's going to be something else. MF, take it home.
All right. And for all of us here, for Anthony Floyo, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher saying so long, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Goodbye.
Hey, you got no right to quote me at all, little man.
See ya!